Hello, welcome back to Seen by Few, another COVIdeo. So let's say you're stuck inside for, months, years at a time, and you want to know what's good to watch on streaming services. This is what the COVIdeos are for. So I'm Nick.
I'm Thad Castle.
Also known as Lance.
Yeah.
So this week we're talking about Reacher, one that's been out for a few months now, I think.
When we are not talking about the Tom Cruise Reacher.
No, we're talking about the Amazon Prime Reacher that came on to streaming somewhat recently. I mean, we're a little late. That's why we're not new to the scene.
Yeah, this is a COVIdeo. We were locked in, didn't have shit to watch, and we were like, let's check this out.
I think it was one you'd watched, and you're like, hey, if you got a chance, Reacher is pretty good. And I took note of it because I recognized Alan Ritchson from like a movie or two I'd seen him in before. So I'm like, okay, I'm on in it. You showed me the trailer, whatever. It looked interesting. Right. So it was when I was going to give it a try eventually, and eventually I got to it.
Well, the reason I watched this one, so Tim, he's read all the novels, and then he watched the TV show, and he was like, he said, there's a show called Reacher, and I was like, yeah, I know the Jack Reacher stuff. And he's like, no, it's not the movie stuff. It's like a show that came on Amazon Prime. And he said he watched it, and he said it was really, really good. He said, I think you'd like it. It's got a lead actor. I recognize him from something, but I'm not 100% sure. I was like, okay. On his recommendation, I went ahead and watched it. We invited him to do this video with us because he's read like all the books. He knows all the stuff, but he's busy. So we might retread this later.
Yeah, like, if he wants to come in and join us at one point.
Yeah, like maybe when season 2 or something like that comes on. But
I hope there's a season 2.
I hope they do too. But already kind of early playing our hands on our ratings.
Maybe we should give our ratings soon. Finish your thought.
Yeah, but we really wanted him here for this, but like I said, life happens and people get busy. Yeah, he basically told me about it, and then there was something that happened. But anyways, we'll get into that when we hit the spoiler territory.
Yeah.
But Nick, what did you think of Reacher?
Actually, I think it's an 8 for me.
8. Okay.
What'd you assume I'm going to give it? A 7? Close.
Yeah. Very close. I've been pretty off with the numbers here lately.
Well, being within 1 or 2 is... I mean, there are some 6s that could easily be 7, some 7s that could easily be 8, and vice versa.
Right.
I mean, it's you're only a point off of an 11-point system.
Yeah. That's not bad.
That's not bad.
Well, I would easily give this show, I'd say an 8 as well.
Okay. I mean, likewise.
Okay.
I steered on the side of caution and went for a slightly lower number.
Yeah, so we both shot a point under. We're solidly entering spoiler territory.
Give your time to reach for your remote and hit back if you don't want to hear about Reacher. Because we're in broad strokes of the season, but we might hit on some key plot points that would be spoiler-ish.
Yeah, this is one we wanted to talk about a couple of weeks ago, but we wanted to get our resident expert in, and now it's like getting foggier and foggier in our minds. So it's like we've just got to get it out there.
It's been about a month plus since I've finished Reacher.
Yeah. Like, it's been a little over that because I watched it and was like, Nick, watch this show.
And then I watched it. And
then I started trying to go back through it again, but there's just too much that I've got to watch now. So it's kind of like I watched the first episode again and was like...
That's enough.
Okay. Well,
okay.
I think I've got Amber hooked on it now, so I think I'll be able to go back through it again.
Yeah.
But,
all right. I mean, speaking of going back through again, like an 8 is because I'm like, okay, this is a good show. And like I went downstairs and put Amazon on the TV down there, so I'm like, hey, Dad, you should watch this at some point in time. I don't think he's had a chance to, but essentially I just try to get my father to watch it, and I'm like trying to push it on people to be like, hey, have you seen Reacher? This is one that I'm actively recommending to people, kind of like when Arcane came out. Arcane was when I was like pushing on people to be like, hey, you should watch Arcane. You should watch Arcane.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, this is one I think is good.
It's definitely worthy of beating the drum because it would be a shame if it went away. Because I think what I really, really dig about it is that it follows an episodic format. I believe there were 10 episodes, but it was
9
like
10 or whatever. But it's one big story, but
the whole season follows a plot line, and then the next season, I'm sure he's going to be stumbling into some other bullshit,
some other new mystery or something.
Yeah, but he's out of brothers. So there's no more brother shit. But yeah, it's the show. So the thing that got me about it was that, like I said, Tim was like, it's got a really familiar lead actor of the show. So I started watching this. It was like one of my days off. I was here at the house. I started watching it, and like I'm playing it, and I was like, kind of like, okay. And then the first time that Alan Ritchson turns around on the show, I was like, that guy does look familiar. Mm-hmm. And I was kind of staring at him, and then like it hit me the second he started talking. I was like, holy shit, that's fucking Thad Castle from BCU. So there was our BMS, Blue Mountain State. Anyways, BMS, Blue Mountain State was a show that came on where he was like, basically, I think he's like an offensive. I think he's like an offensive end or something like that in the show. He's basically a tackle, and he's dumb as a fucking box of rocks, and he's probably one of the funniest parts of that whole TV show. If you have a chance to go back and watch Blue Mountain State, it's a very funny show. It's dated as hell because it's old now, but it is very funny.
And that's one I'd never heard of until you like showed me some like, here's some Thad bits.
Yeah, compilation. Well, he's the funniest part of the show because he's just so stupid. It's hilarious. It's adorable. But yeah, I was like, I could not stop seeing Thad Castle for like the first 2 episodes, and then like it really starts to ramp up the action, and then that just kind of faded into the background. But like a guy that goes for the ha-has, the way he was playing this character, like you could tell that actor is very, very versatile. And I'm looking forward. I hope the show takes off, and I hope his career takes off. I mean, he's been doing stuff.
He's been busy, but nothing. I guess nothing like mainstream popular.
Yeah, like I think this one is going to hit in a big way. I'm hoping it does, because if this show goes off, it's going to be a fucking shame, because the show is very, very good and very well put together.
It's been out for months now, and I think the only bit I'd heard about it was you telling me to watch it. So here's hoping, because it's really fucking good.
Yeah, like spread this video. Like I know we do a lot of them, and we're watch the show and whatever. Like try and actually get this one out there and around, because the show is very worthy. Like
or if you've seen the show and you think it's good, tell people.
Yeah,
get people to watch this show. It's good.
Yeah, like but mainly just share this video.
I mean, share the video too. But I mean, if at the most you only have five seconds, tell them to watch Reacher.
Yeah, but
and give them the elevator pitch.
So
I mean, for the most part, it's got popular aspects to it because people love crime procedurals. It's not a procedural. It's more of just kind of a mystery crime drama or whatever. People love that shit.
Well, the dude is like the Sherlock Holmes. Like he's a modern day Sherlock Holmes, basically. He's read the script on all the fight scenes.
Yeah. And came prepared.
Yeah, like he knows how to fuck a dude up. But I think the thing that I really like about the show is that, old school beat 'em ups, or like some of the new school beat 'em ups, it's kind of like, it's people like doing martial arts and shit like that. But like it's all very measured out. Guy takes a swing, you take a swing, I'll take a swing, you take a swing. What I liked about him is that it's all very almost like Krav Maga, where like he just jumps in there as fast as he can and destroys as much as he can.
Eliminate the threats immediately, because I mean, the longer your threat is up, the more likely they'll get you.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's special forces, and like generally going against mooks, people who are like, I'm kind of big, I'll beat the shit out of him. Well, he's also big. Matter of fact, he's big as shit. And
6'7".
I think the actor is like 6'3". And Jack Reacher is supposed to be 6'5", so they say he's 6'5" in the show. Sure. And then you just shoot him bigger or something like. So he's fucking big as shit. But I mean, tall, but also just fucking broad as all hell.
Yeah.
And then you got like just guys going up against him. Like, well, there's 3 of us. We're gonna show up and beat the guy with glasses. And then he like kicks someone's leg out. And he like stabs someone else with the glasses. And she's just fucking. If you attack Jack Reacher, tough shit.
Yeah. You done fucked up.
Yeah, it's just like the 5, or was it 3 or 4 kids, or 4 or 5 kids, like that are drunk, are gonna like, I'm just gonna rough them up a little bit, and I'm gonna break 3 of your hands. Well, there's 4 of us. Well, someone needs to drive to the hospital, and then he just snapping limbs and leaves the last person to.
Yeah.
Like no mercy for people like you. You took. You know what the fuck you're doing. I'm not gonna go nice on you.
Yeah, he's definitely a person that basically does not feel any remorse for like taking out people who are doing terrible things, because they establish like basically the dude's like a lawyer, he's an investigator, Apparently he was military police, highly decorated. Apparently every case that he took, he won. And then the one bad spot on his record is like most normal day-to-day fucking people with like some kind of a sense of a moral compass would be like, yeah, in his situation I did the same thing. Because honestly I would have too, and I'm not going to ruin that part for you. But yeah, talk about like a bunch of people that I don't really know, but like the casting is fucking great. So you know this guy, so I'm gonna let you talk about him.
Malcolm Goodwin, who plays Finley, was in iZombie, which is a show. I think there's 5 seasons. I've only made it through 4 seasons so far. I need to go back and finish the 5th one, but the show's fun because I do like that kind of procedural show. And iZombie is one in which the mortician is a zombie. And whenever you eat, they have to eat brains. Brains is what they need. And when she eats brains, you get kind of flashes of who that person used to be. So she works in a morgue. She needs brains. So when she's doing the autopsies, she's cooking herself up some brains. But now she's getting flashes of who this person used to be. So the first season is Goodwin being like the normal kind of cop coming downstairs, and now the zombie is passing herself off as being a psychic, and she's getting psychic visions about the people she sees. But she's really just getting visions of the people of how they died and stuff like that. And then when you eat their brains, you kind of get their kind of personality a little bit. So she's kind of always herself, but just kind of like different versions of herself. Like this guy was a pothead, so now she's the pothead. And it's kind of, I mean, eventually the show gets into some weird fucking aspects that I'm less interested in. I just like the stupid crime procedural aspect of it, and it was fun. Because occasionally she would zombie out and like fuck people up. It was dope.
Okay, I have to ask. So she eats people's brains and she gets flashes of who they were. Like, is she eating the whole brain in one sitting, or is it like he liked bikes?
So they tend to do like food cuts or whatever, where she's making tortillas. So they show brain, they show her cutting up brain, they show her making a tortilla, then you just kind of show her eating like the tortilla.
That is disgusting.
It's amusing. Because they do like food shots, where this one she's making chili, so she makes brain chili and stuff like that, and it's always different cuts to her making different things. And then she might keep some like in the fridge and it lasts for like a week or whatever. So as long as she's got some fresh brains there, she'll just go back and have some, or drink a brain smoothie or whatever, and she'll occasionally sipping on that.
So are like parts falling off of her?
No.
I mean, she's a fucking zombie.
It's kind of like all that really matters is when you're a zombie is like, you're really hard to kill, and as long as you eat brains, you're normal for the most part. So she's pale, got pale hair, but she's otherwise fine.
She goes into a feeding frenzy when she doesn't eat brains.
If you don't eat, you can go like crazy. You go like, that's when you get like rotting flesh and sort of crazed. Is if you're not able to keep your sanity, and you need to keep your sanity by eating brains.
But we're not talking about iZombie.
But so Finley is the kind of straight cop. In iZombie, and he was good in that. He's kind of playing the same-ish sort of character, was that kind of like good cop sort of thing. And this one, I guess, in Reacher, he goes a bit more of like, we're working with corrupt motherfuckers, so at some point in time we need to stop working with them and just kind of maintain our own integrity and get this thing done.
Right. And then you had Willa Fitzgerald. I know the name. I went through her IMDb. Nothing was jumping off the page at me, but her as Roscoe, she was fucking great.
She was great. Like great acting, and also like I love the character too. She was great.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite scenes with her. So you know that her and Jack are gonna hook up.
Yeah.
Because they're like attracted to each other like right from the get. But like the whole thing, the scene before they like, where you think they're gonna hook up, in that one first scene where he goes and he raids the vending machine, and she's like talking about like the shit he's eating. She's like, that seems really unhealthy, and he's like, what are you eating? She's like, gator tater chips, and he goes, and she's like, all right, shut up. Like that whole scene, like I liked how they kind of played off of each other. I like it when there is a feeling of chemistry between the characters, because I think there's chemistry between the actors themselves. Because it makes it feel like it's, you know, an actual thing. It doesn't feel forced. And at no point did the relationship between Roscoe, Reacher, or Finley like
feel forced. Yeah.
Yeah, it all felt very natural. And like watching the progression of like how Reacher and Finley were in the beginning of the show and where they got at the end of the show was very gratifying.
Yeah, because they're kind of antagonistic with each other at the beginning.
Well, I mean, Finley's being a dick.
Yeah, Finley's treating him like a criminal.
Yeah, because he's using every extent that he can think of to like keep this dude around.
Yeah,
Because
I think you're guilty, and you're not talking to me, so I'm going to send you to prison for the night until we wrap this shit up or whatever.
And Reacher's like, you can't do that, and he's like, oh yeah, well, you're in my jurisdiction where I'm going to do like this thing because it's just I liked all of that. I liked how it kind of ramped up. There's a lot of other actors in here that the only one that stands out to me when I'm going through this is like Bruce McGill, the guy who played Mayor Grover Teal. That guy has been in a lot of stuff. Like he's another one of those guys of Hollywood.
Yeah, I do recognize his face from a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, so Law Abiding Citizen, Animal House. I mean, he's in Time Cop apparently.
That old classic.
No, I love Time Cop.
I barely remember it.
Oh, it's
I remember it's silly.
It's a good one.
Isn't that the one if you like touch your past self, you melt?
I think that was Sliver.
Oh, I think it's Time Cop.
It might have been.
It might be Sliver too, but.
Well, I remember it had Anthony Garcia, I think, in Sliver, and I think they like kick his past self into his future self, and then they like gel into some big silver thing.
See, I thought that was Time Cop because two matters of the same type can't occupy the same space at the same time. So it's like, if you go in the past, make sure you never touch yourself, otherwise you're gonna like unexist or something stupid like that.
You know what? I'll just go with it because I don't remember. That movie came out.
It's a fucking stupid movie.
Let's see. Time Cop came out in '94.
Oh wow!
So that came out when I was 20.
That came out when I was 11.
Yeah, they came out many moons ago. Many moons. Anyways, but yeah, he's been in a lot of stuff, and I think mainly he's just that guy. When you see him, you just know him. And then there's a lot of other actors equally as talented, equally as very interesting to watch. The only other one that I would say I don't really know him from much, but Harvey Gillian.
No, he was the mortician.
Yeah, he was kind of like, well, I think he was like the crime scene investigator. He was the dude that always showed up, was trying to figure out what the fuck's going on, and then Reacher would come in and like Sherlock Holmes the shit. And it's like, where's this man's penis? And
Where's his testicles?
Yeah, it's like it's in his stomach. And he's like, they're fucking where?
Yeah.
So the Harvey Gillian, he played Jasper in the show, the crime scene investigator. He's also in a show. The only other thing I know him from is What We Do in the Shadows, the TV show on FX, and he's fucking delightful in that show, and that is another good show.
He was good in this. He didn't have a whole lot necessarily to do in this one, but he like the scenes he were in. He was memorable, I think.
Yeah.
Just even like the simple stuff when like I think it was end of episode 2 in which Reacher goes over and like grabs his monitor and he's like, "Oh, don't touch." Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It seems he was good in scenes.
Yeah, I guess he's just doing that now.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's very funny, understated comedy gold in that show. But yeah, it's if you like gritty detective kind of comedy, not comedy, gritty detective stories.
It's a crime drama.
Yeah,
and you generally have an idea of who's bad. It's just trying to discover why. It's like, what are they doing and how are they doing it?
And what are they hiding? And you're busting down the story like person by person.
Yeah, and then you find out like maybe there's someone else even higher than that. But you kind of have a sense like this person's bad. And like you can kind of get a sense for who's working with him. But what are they doing exactly? You know that the crime they're committing, but how are they doing it?
Yeah, the whole cows thing, the cow feed and stuff like that.
I mean,
like that was an interesting turn of the story.
And you could tell it was something in like, because Reacher noticed it, so it has to be something big. It's like, how come there's all this cow feed? That's a lot of feed for that little cow.
I like though that it was bothering him for like 4 episodes. He didn't immediately get it. It was like 4 episodes. He's like, "What the fuck is going on with this cow?"
He know that there's something wrong with this. That's more feed than they need for cows. So there's something going on there, but why?
Yeah, like that whole thing was good. It did a slow burn in a lot of places. It flared up to flamethrower like proportions in others, which made the show brilliant.
Just some of the fights were fun too. Like I think when he went to New York and got followed into the alley and he beats the shit out of the guy and then like grabs him by the tie and jumps off the walkway and like chokes him out that way and just kind of drops down to like the next level. That's fucking great.
Yeah.
Imagine a man that sized hanging by your neck.
Oh, it'd be broken in like 8 places.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, it probably would just came off.
Yeah.
But the one scene that I really liked with him was when the lawyer, the guy played Hubble,
okay.
Mark Bendavid. I hope I'm saying your name right, like you're watching this.
Yeah.
When he was in jail with Hubble, and they stuck him in like max security, and he's like, "Yeah, no, that guy's trying to get us fucking killed because we're not in like the lower areas. We're like in with the hardened fucking criminals." But when the guy walked into him, he's like, "Oh, I like you. Give me your shoes and give me your glasses." And then like at first, like you thought that Reacher wasn't going to do anything because like all that happened, and then finally he jumps down. He's like, "You're in myself, fatso." Now you're going to turn around, you're going to walk the fuck off. And the guy's like, "You know who I am," and I think that's one of my favorite new things that they do with like the Billy Jack Badass shows, where it's like, "You know who I am," and it's like, "I don't give a fuck who you are." Yeah, I'm going to snap your fucking head off. But like every fight scene was delightful. He was a character that had very good situational awareness. If I was to have to compare him in D&D terms, I'd say he's the 14th level character that rolled up on a town full of like 6th level characters. Yeah. And you have a bunch of people that are like way behind him in levels, and he's already kind of experienced all this stuff.
I think he's the 14th level Gestalt character in a world of people who only have one class. So he's dual class, not even multi-class. He's got 2 full classes at the same level.
Yeah. Well, so everyone else is just level 6 single class, and he's level 6 dual class.
Or he's like level 10 in 2 classes at the same time.
Okay.
And you take the best of both classes, so that you're kind of like super, because he's like detective, and he's fucking smart as shit, but he's also strong as shit. So he's got the He's definitely that person who would when you're playing D&D doesn't realize that it's a group game, man. You can't don't fill all the roles. I want some roles too.
Yeah, he's just impatiently walking through like all the scenarios, and you have that one dude's like, I get to beat this guy up. And fucking Reacher just like he's killing somebody with a pencil off screen, and then he just runs over and and fucking like runs back off screen. You're like, man, come on.
I was doing this scene.
If Reacher was a Gestalt character, what classes do you think he would be?
So I think he's fighter, but he'd be kind of, in this edition, it'd be battle master or whatever, because he's putting conditions on people. And then he's got that smarts. I think maybe he's got some rogue in him.
Okay, so I think
he's got the sneak attacks.
He does, yeah. Well, I think so. If I was to have to say it, I'd say he's monk, and like lore bard, because it's like he knows a lot of shit. But I think he's monk because I think he gets initiative on people. So it's like less about the sneak attack and more about, okay, I can kind of see what's coming, and right before they can rip those hands, he's like, and he just like multi-fucking like,
Yeah. It's like that one
flurry of blows
when he's getting followed by the people that were gonna cap him, whatever. So he just kind of like slows the car to a roll, hops out, and jumps in the bushes, and they come out, and everyone else is like, I guess we're doing the surprise attack, motherfucker.
yeah. That was
2 shots, 2 dead motherfuckers.
That was very satisfying. Like,
it was.
Yeah. Just what they pull up and see the car basically like just slow rolling, and then like the doors open, and they're just like, I guess he's behind the house.
No, he's behind you.
Yeah, he just comes Jason Voorheesing up on behind him, and just that part was so good.
I think I like he just murders people in the show, and then they just move on like it's not a thing that happened. And that's kind of 80s stupid that I kind of enjoy and kind of miss. Where like you have got the hero cop that just murders people, and it's not like you can't murder people. That's like you're going to jail. No, it's not just
they were going to kill me.
Yeah, fuck them.
Yeah, like a thing I think I really liked most about that scene is that he killed the 2 guys, and he was like, and he goes to put him in the fucking trunk of the car, and he can't get the one guy's leg, so he just breaks the fucking leg and shoves it in there. And he does it just like
it's going. He doesn't fit. Snap. There we go.
It was just another day at the job for him. Like he was completely impassive. He's just breaking the fucking leg to make sure that they get very, very nice and satisfyingly into the trunk.
Yeah. And Finley later was like, I thought you said the trail went cold. I'm like, it is cold. They're dead.
Yeah. And then it's like the girl saw the wound, and she's like, the wound in the front of the bunch. She's like, that's an exit wound. You shot these guys in the back, and he's like, well, they're going to kill me.
Yeah. And I do like that. They don't make that a huge plot point. More of they kind of like, okay, we understand. Especially as shit goes on, where like Roscoe goes home and people have broken into her home to murder her. I think that's when she's on board with like, yeah, fuck these people.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I just also like where she felt like he was kind of like, don't be scared. And she's like, scared? I'm fucking mad.
Yeah, I'm pissed. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, and that's where, like, I already liked her character at that point because she seems to have that true sight when it comes to people. Like, she was just looking at Reacher and I think it was more than attraction at that point. She just kind of like sized him up where everyone else like, big motherfucker rolls into town. We don't know why he's here.
And we got some bodies.
Yeah.
He must have done it because he's big and scary.
And she's like looking at him, already getting kind of like a read off of like his demeanor, and like she's going to be a good detective in that show one day.
Yeah, she's got that kind of that insight into people.
Yeah.
That you can look at a person, size them up, and tell who they are actually, not just who they appear to be.
Right. And so, but yeah, like there was a lot of scenes in the show that were just over the top, fantastic. All the acting was great. Thad Castle was amazing in the show. He's just always going to be Thad Castle to me. I'm sorry.
So the first thing I saw him in was Laser Team, the movie Rooster Teeth put it out.
I've never seen that.
Well, he was like the real actor among a bunch of internet people, and he was amusing because it was kind of like in that movie, you were given the planet was given a suit to fight like in something for the planet, and there was 4 parts to it, and he was going to be the guy that was going to wear all 4 parts, but then some other assholes came into the lab and one put on the boots, one put on the gun, one put on the helmet, so they all had different aspects of meant to be one person. So he was the one guy that was meant to be big and beefy and was going to protect Earth, and you could buy it because he's big and beefy, and he could probably protect Earth.
Yeah, the dude he's got an unbelievably good physique. Like I'm glad to see that dude. Like if you go back and watch Blue Mountain State, like he was thin and tall. Like you could tell he still had muscle on him, but like that dude's been fucking.
I think he bulked up for Reacher too.
Well, I mean, he's been freebasing fucking creatine like crazy or something. You're like, that dude is fucking huge.
You know who I'd like to see him play? Superman.
Yeah.
Because for one, I mean, usually we get people that play Superman that are like physically like fit, I guess. We don't usually get many people that are fucking jacked. And like back in the old, not I guess old to me at least, like the 90s Superman cartoon where you look at Clark Kent and he's just this gigantic motherfucker, and he's like, look at me, I'm Clark Kent, I'm meek and sad. And like, no, you're fucking shit, you're huge as shit. I want a Superman that is like obscenely huge, and you're like, why the fuck did motherfuckers not know that's Clark Kent? Because it's already hard to buy.
Yeah.
So why not just make it even more hard to buy and get some joy out of the fact that like those two are the same motherfucker.
Yeah, I mean, you had people picking on Clark. No, that dude is fucking Diesel. He's huge. Like I get it. He's got a pair of glasses on, and the fucking curl's not in his face. But still,
I mean, he acts more meek and that kind of, but still, he's fuck got the physique of Superman.
It's almost like, okay, if Dwayne the Rock Johnson is the Rock in the ring, what do you think? I don't care what you think. You know, like he's doing that persona. But then you get Dwayne Johnson. He's like, hey, I'm Dwayne Johnson. You're like, no, I'm gonna fucking give you nuggies and punch you in the head because you seem so nice. No, he's still fucking big.
Yeah, he's still big as shit.
So you don't fuck with him, and that's always been one of those things with Superman where it's like I don't get it. Like in Smallville, when he had like a teenager's body, but he was still like unearthly strong. I could kind of get that. Yeah. But like, yeah, it's like you said in the cartoon, he looked like a fucking top.
Yeah.
Gigantic top, and it goes down to like fucking tiny little hips. And then he has these sticks for legs, but he could still like kick your head into fucking Saturn if you wanted to.
He's got the Adventures of Superman animated cartoon physique to him.
Yeah.
And I think I'd like to see a Superman like that, where it's just kind of fun, and because we've been getting the dark, scary, like, oh my god, the world is bleak. I want the fun. Like, I was thinking about it. Like, at no point am I really worried that Reacher is going to die. Not really. I mean, he's in trouble on occasion, but for the most part, the show's called Reacher. He's fine. But who you are worried for is the people around him, and that's kind of where the fun in a Superman story is. Is like Superman's fine, but the people that Superman cares about, that would be where you
fair game.
That's where you get your kind of drama from. So I think with Reacher, that's kind of what I felt as well. Like, I don't know that Finley or Roscoe are going to be in a season 2 necessarily. So maybe something happens to them. I heard random beeping as well.
Yeah, I don't know what that was. Oh, well.
So I saw the parallel to Superman in that sort of aspect of it. Like Reacher's, I'm not afraid for Reacher, but the people around Reacher bad stuff might happen. Sounds like a piano being played in the background.
Is my fucking house haunted?
Oh no! You're seeing a live haunting in action.
Well, it's like, I know Jack has,
The cat piano.
you know,
And it sounds like someone's playing the cat piano, like way in the distance in his room, and he's not here.
no, Jack is at his grandma's, and I know that it's coming from down the hall, and I know that cat piano is right over there. So this is fucking with me a little bit. As a matter of fact, we're going to take a quick break so I can go find out what the fuck's going on. Okay, so good news. It was not a ghost. Yeah, it would have only been slightly more ironic if we would have been doing like some kind of like scary movie review, and then that happened. I would have been like, I've got to go, and ran out that back door. So it wasn't a ghost. My wife was watching a video to find out if she's tone deaf. Good news, we aren't either because we heard it.
Ironic thing is, that's a video that was recommended to me too, and I watched it like a couple days ago, and it's like, oh yeah, okay. So it also tests or talks about perfect pitch and stuff too, which I don't have perfect pitch. And I thought my relative pitch was a little bit better, but I was off by like a note.
I don't know. I could be tone deaf. I don't know. I've never taken a test, but I know what I like.
Well, tone deaf is if you hear two notes side by like one after the other, can you tell whether it's ascending or descending, or are they at the same tone, sort of thing?
Oh.
It's not people who sing poorly. That's just the thing people throw at people like, nah, they're tone deaf.
I'll have to take the test before I go to bed.
Yeah, it's fun. So, Reacher.
Yes. So, I'm sorry. That's just still kind of fucking with me. That was so creepy. It was like, it sounds like my child is playing his kitty cat keyboard in the back of the house.
It's the keyboard's over there.
But it's over there
and
not back there. And the child is at his grandma's house. So that fucked with me. But anyways.
You're so easily spooked.
I mean, it's just, I don't know. Anyways. But no, I don't have a whole hell of a lot more to say about the show because I just don't want to ruin it.
I don't want to go into, because I mean, ultimately you know who is bad. You just don't know why they're bad. So I mean, it's not a mystery show per se. Like when I was first watching, I'm like, oh, it's kind of a mystery, but really it's not. The mystery is the what are they exactly doing, and how are they exactly doing it? Because you kind of get the idea that like his brother was a counterfeit investigator, so like it's got something to do with counterfeit. But how are they counterfeiting stuff, and like where are they? How like? So it's kind of, I guess you know the crime. Now you need to build the evidence for the crime.
Yeah, and then you're not getting anything out of the sub characters. So like as he gets closer and closer to the middle, as he starts basically stomping on people's knuckles to get the information out, then you start to unwind more and more of it. And the show is definitely an onion.
Yeah.
But it's very satisfying onion when you get to the center of it.
I think it was like the second to last episode, maybe it was the third to last, where he tells the people, like, he tells the cop that he knows is dirty. He's like, oh, you must be the clean one. And a matter of fact, I'm going to be at this place at this time looking into this sort of thing. So that when he goes to that place, he paints himself up like the bushes or whatever, hides and waits for the murder team to come so he could just gack all the motherfuckers. Yeah. And it's very satisfying just to... Because there's like four of them, and he gacks three of them pretty easily. But one of them's like the main, like a sub boss. So you actually get a bit of a fight out of him.
Yeah, you have the three. What were they called in fifth ed? The people,
the minions.
Yeah, you have three minions, and then you have the sub boss, and like of course, a big action scene surrounding that. The other thing I did dig about it is that as Reacher was taking wounds, they weren't gone by the next episode. Like he was still kind of like...
It's always had like the cuts on his face, but just they were bandaged or whatever.
Yeah, but I think he gets like stabbed at one point, and I think, like that he was still kind of like reeling because by the time it almost when he gets to the end fight where he's fighting the final boss, it's almost like when you play the video game and you beat the boss down, you're like, that was too easy. And then like the music starts back up and you're like, of course. And then you beat that fucking boss down, and like now you're like out of Phoenix Downs. Most of your healing's gone, most of your mana's gone. You're like, okay, not a big deal. That was to be expected. And then all of a sudden, angels start singing in Latin, and you're like, oh fuck. Like he was at that point where he's like, the third wave of this fucking dude hurt. Yeah. When he had to fight this guy.
Yeah, I mean, also the satisfying ending of the dunk and then the kick. And, and the woof.
Yeah, we'll extract from that what you will. But would you recommend Jack Reacher?
This is one I would actually highly recommend. That like if you've got like fit it into your schedule, watch it. And I mean, you'll know if you're like, oh, I don't like crime shows and I don't like action shows. Maybe it's not for you. But I mean, it's like crime dramas are like one of those ones that are prime time on TV. I think it's a thing that everyone kind of like digs to some regard. You like watching like the good people get the bad guys, and that's what the show is. There's some downs, but ultimately the good guys get the bad guys, and it's fun.
And it's almost like you're writing a line if Reacher's a good guy or a bad guy.
But you always get the sense that like he's trying to do stuff, but he's like happy murdering people to get what he wants.
Yeah.
He's the Punisher aspect of it or whatever.
Yeah, but well, I mean, it's like he has a moral code, but he doesn't really have... The moral code goes out the window when you're a person who's a bad person. So it's like I'd say he's almost like... Would you say he's chaotic good?
No, maybe. I mean, also, if you're playing D&D and you get attacked by bandits, you'll just kill the bandits, because... How annoying is it in D&D, like, when you spare the bandits' lives and like, well, now we gotta chain them all up and take them back to town, and then you have to deal with the fact that you're running with a chain gang of bandits, and it's like, just kill them all.
Yeah, but like
and move on to the next storyline.
The difference is like we don't have time to bury him, so I'm going to like break his arms and legs so I could fit him in this hollow tree trunk.
Which we don't even do that in D&D. It's just kind of like, where they lie is where they'll be.
Yeah, we strip them of their belongings and then we move on.
And you kill a guy and you're like, oh, he's wearing some pretty cool armor. It's like, oh, I'm going to strip him of his armor and check his pockets. And it's like, oh, this is my stuff now.
Well, it's D&D. Like, that stuff never really, like, rounds back on you. You kill the bad guys and you leave them in the middle of the street, and it's almost like Resident Evil, where the body just goes into the floor, you know?
It's kind of what I get the sense of for this show, too. And I kind of... You would get a lot of that a bit more, like, in the 90s and the 80s and whatever, in those kind of action movies. And I kind of, like... I miss that sort of thing a little bit, where it's just kind of like... The good guys can kill the bad guys, because they're bad guys. And then we just move on, because they're bad. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, bad people doing bad things that need to be taken out.
And they get taken out, and now you're on to the next bit of the story.
Yeah.
I guess except for the part where they take the car with the bodies in it and leave it in a airplane parking garage. That's future someone's problem.
Yeah, good. Congratulations, fucking dude who's writing tickets. And it's like, I think someone left a bad burger in this car. But yeah, I would also highly recommend Reacher. If you're thinking about like the Tom Cruise stuff, it's not like the Tom Cruise stuff. The Tom Cruise stuff is good. Like I don't know if you've seen.
I've not seen them.
They're not bad, but like it's hard.
I mean, Tom Cruise is like this big.
Yeah,
and I'm counting from the floor.
Yeah. He's a short guy, but like you got to give props to Tom Cruise. Like he might be a little. He might have some beliefs and he might do some practices that are a little weird, but talk about a dude who fucking commits to the role and like lives the life. Like in Mission Impossible, it was him doing the stunt on the outside of the plane. Yeah. Apparently for fucking Top Gun, he flew a fucking helicopter onto a aircraft carrier or some shit like that and jumped out like George Bush, mission accomplished. Or some shit, but like the dude, like
it's not for his lack of drive. It's just the lack of stature for someone that was described in the books, from my understanding. Because I watched a couple of the, I think Amazon Prime has like a couple things talking about where the actors are talking about it, and I watched those too. Where it's kind of like in the books he was described as being like 5'6", fucking tank of a man, and then it's like Tom Cruise is like 5'6".
Wait, you said 5'6" tank of a man.
6'5", and then flop him.
Yeah. No, it was not believable, but like Tom Cruise could pull off the whole.
Yeah.
Like you
get more of a John Wick sort of badass as opposed to like the Arnold Schwarzenegger sort of badass.
The thing that I also liked, I didn't bring it up initially, but like they don't do it enough in my opinion. In the very beginning of the show, when he sees the dude and the girl fighting, he's like, "Just get in the fucking truck." And like he gives the guy the stare, and the guy's like, "What the fuck are you looking at, buddy?" And he just keeps giving him like the fucking stare, like, "I will murder you."
It's like,
and
you're right.
And the guy was like, "I'm just having a bad day, man." You know, like I thought that was good, just because he had no facial expressions other than like that. You want
to do this?
You want to walk into this world of hurt? And then the guy was just kind of like, it reminded me of. Have you ever seen Friday?
Maybe a long time ago.
Where Debo like beats the shit out of fucking Red. And And then Red's dad runs up, and Debo's like, "You want some of this too, old man?" And the old man's like, "Hell no!" And he's like, "Boy, what you bothering these people? Get over here!" And like pulls the guy out of the fucking thing.
I do like the kind of intimidation scenes where the guy's like steps to the person, and you think, oh, he's gonna beat the shit out of him real quick, and the guy's like, actually, no, never mind. This guy's fucking a brick shit house.
Yeah, and then you had like the son of the dude who was like Mr. fucking
like a KJ or something like that.
And then and then you had this little lackey that was hanging out with him, and like that dude did not know when to shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
like,
he starts stepping on like the barking little chihuahua or whatever.
Yeah, he has no situational awareness whatsoever, and I think he gets bitched pretty fast. So, but anyways,
it's good.
Yeah, it's a good show. Go watch it. Watch it and then recommend it to people if you think you like it, because far too many things are getting cut down way before they should, and I get it. It's like
you gotta throw the wide net, see what catches.
Yeah, especially with COVID and all the shit's going on right now. Money's fucking short, and they're basically trying to get the most out of whatever they can get out of. And like, I guess if things don't hit enough fucking eyes, they hit the cutting room floor, i.e., Firefly. So it'd be a shame to see this show go in that direction, especially after only one season. But
I mean, at least if it is one season, it's something I like when shows do. Is at the end of a season, it's concluded, but you could do more.
Yeah, it feels like they buttoned it up nicely.
So that if for some reason you don't get another season, because those aren't guaranteed. And a lot of people make their shows like, we're gonna get another season, and then you're just left on that.
But you don't know what's going on with the mom. You don't know what's going on with the dad.
It's not.
You know, yeah. There's so much more to unpack.
It's not that the show is done, but it reached a conclusion.
That arc is done.
That it could, like, that arc is finished. It could be done. And a lot of shows just kind of give you like that, we're one episode away from wrapping stuff up, but you're going to get that episode next season, and then they don't get picked up for next season.
And then you're left to wonder what the fuck. It's kind of like with Firefly. Whenever it had the one season, everyone's like, so...
Well, it was a half a season, really.
Yeah.
Because it got canceled midway through.
And
so the movie came through and...
Yeah, Serenity came through, and then they were at least able to like tell their story in the most truncated form possible. And then it didn't help the Fox played them out of sequence, so people didn't know what the fuck was going on.
Yeah.
But I remember watching the first episode of that when it first came on. I was going to a party, and it showed. I think it came on a Saturday night. I think it was before like Saturday Night Live or something like that. But anyways, I remember watching the episode and thinking, okay, this is interesting.
Yeah, because the first episode they played was Train Job.
Yeah. Yeah, that was that the one? No. Was that the one where he's like sitting naked?
No, that's
the Christina Hendricks episode.
Yeah, that's like third to last episode.
Well, maybe. Train Job had like a lot of action, so I guess the execs were like, let's grab him with this one. But like, you're already walking in on like forming relationships.
Yeah.
And I think Train Job was what, like episode 4?
It was episode 2.
2? Okay, yeah.
Episode 1 was Serenity. Then they came up with the movie Serenity. So Serenity is the name of the first and last thing.
So what do you think Shepherd Book was?
I think he was what Chiwetel Ejiofor used to be.
Okay.
I think. Because I think they explore his background in like the comics, but I've never read any of the comics.
All right.
Is that what you would...
Yeah, I think he would be closer to what's his name, Early, the guy that showed up in the episode where he's like trying to grab. I think he's like basically a bounty hunter.
Okay.
Like Early.
Yeah.
Jubal Early.
Jubal, that's it.
Yeah, and where she's like fucking with him the entire time, but he's like an overconfident fucking like bounty hunter, and then like she starts basically talking to him like he's a ghost, and really fucks with him.
Well, he would have had an alliance badge. Because like when the guy read his thing, he's like, get him to Medbay immediately. Whereas Jubal was just kind of a freelance bounty hunter.
Yeah. But, okay. I was just wondering what you'd say on that. So, I think we've said the thing.
Yeah. So, are there any other shows that like have an amazing first season that we're just missing and you really want people to watch it so that it'll get a second season? Let us know down below so that like we can check it out. Maybe it is worth it. Maybe it does need a second season. Or
maybe there are shows that only have one season that you're just like, it's an understated fucking masterpiece. I mean, shows like Family Guy got canceled, and then like DVD sales and stuff like that brought them back.
And like twice, I think.
Yeah. I think it did. I think you're right. I think it did get canceled twice. But anyways, so
and last let us know shows that got canceled on a cliffhanger, and you're pissed that they'll never resolve.
Yeah. Or if there was any, even more than that, any of the actors in the show that you may have picked out from other things that we just didn't recognize them from.
Like if Roscoe's in something else, tell us what.
Yeah.
Is she good in that too?
Yeah. Like she's adorable. I fucking love her.
She's dope.
Yeah, she's badass. But anyways.
All right. I think that's a bookend on Reacher. We'll close that Reacher book and leave that other Reacher book on the shelf.
So
get to at some point.
We might recircle on this because we would definitely like to get Tim's input on this because he's done.
So we watched the show input, and that's it.
We haven't read any of the books, and apparently the books are outstanding, and Tim has read all of them. So we might do a second episode of this if we can ever pin him down.
I know, Tim, come, let us. If you want in on stuff.
Yeah, please. Like we would love to have you here. We'd love to have your input on this because not only are you funny and adorable, but you can actually lend us some extra credibility from knowing some of this stuff. So, anyways.
Okay, so I'm Nick.
Lance.
Join us next week for an episode of Have You Seen?
Yeah, whatever the fuck we're doing.
Yeah, I don't even know if we know what the next episode is at this point in time.
I know what I'm going to ask you to watch.
Well, I know what you're coming up with, but I don't know if that's last week's episode or next week's episode. I'd have to look at our release schedule because next week might be yours and last week might have been mine, which we've not even watched yet and recorded. We record things when we want and then we just put them up for the future.
Yeah. Well, and you'll take it and you'll like it and you'll thank us for it.
We want to give you a variety of things. So if we record too many similar things at the same time, we space them out.
Yeah. Hopefully one of these videos will catch with y'all and you'll tell your friends and your friends will tell their friends and I can eventually one day quit my job. It's my dream to one day take a dump on my boss's desk. But I also have 4 bosses, so if my boss is watching this, it might not be your desk. It might be the guy over you. So don't freak out.
And it could be a figurative.
Could be. It's not figurative.
All right. Join us next week.
Or don't. But please do.
But you should.
Or at least subscribe, and then you don't have to join us next week. But
still watch it.
Join us next week.
Or just put the episode on in the background.
Yeah. Or I'll show up at your house.
Or be a YouTube premium member. Download the episode and listen to this in your car on audio only.
Buy you a box of candy. And I don't know where I'm going with this.
Okay, we're done.
Please stop.